Welcome to this craft video with Daft Painter. I'm building an earth elemental totally from scratch, and I'll show you how to do it along the way. Because I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, I often find some models are hard to get, or too costly. Therefore, I'm trying to make my own. I've made a lot of terrain in the past, such as tents and fireplaces, buildings and ruins. I've never made a creature before though. This is going to be something I want to do a lot more of on the channel, so if you do enjoy this, please comment down below and you'll get a say on what you'd like to see next. While I was talking to you just there, you would have seen me cut out two circles out of a cereal box. The circles should be approximately 2 inches across to make it a larger monster, as per its rules in Dungeons and Dragons, but if you don't care about that, you could theoretically make this as large as you want. I've glued the circles together with a glue gun and pressed firmly. Glue guns are going to be essential to this, but PVA glue does work if you have the time to let each part set individually. I'm using insulation foam, which is incredibly similar to EVA foam, which you may have seen in cosplay, but you can use whatever you can get your hands on. Use a sharp knife to start cutting out blocks for this elemental. I started from the bottom up, so I made rough looking feet. As this thing is absolutely non-humanoid, the dimensions and proportions of each body part can be bent and broken, but I'd like mine to be somewhat recognisable. I use glue guns to stick everything in this. They often make little strings of plastic, but it's easy to cut off after it's all done. Along the way, I'm cutting and chipping off bits and bobs and cutting sharp edges flat to make it look more like stone and less like jagged foam. After finishing the knees and thighs, I measure out a waist easily. I cut out a chunk to place a torso into. The torso I made is designed to look like a crystal. I felt this was more organic than shaping a body to have human features, and instead I have a tapered rock as its body. I then place a smaller piece at the front for its head. I wanted pointy shoulders with flat surfaces underneath to attach arms. Broad shoulders help it look stronger and tougher. Arms were made from many pieces that fit really. I separated them into upper arm, elbow and hands. I felt too many joints would needlessly complicate the model. You can see I spent a long time trying to find out different pieces and different shavings from earlier, then trimming them to size and testing them. This is the fun part of crafting in my opinion. There are no rules and it can look however you please. The arm could be lifted high, ready to strike, or it could be held by its side quite lazily. There's no right or wrong answer. One hand was made to be a pointed shield-looking slab, while the other was a large fist which I cut grooves in to show the presence of fingers and thumbs. Once you're happy, coat it in slightly watered down PVA glue. This will strengthen the foam, the joints, and also make it suitable for priming with a spray can later. It will take a few hours to dry, and once it has, cover the base too. I added materials to the base, starting with small stone chippings and pebbles, then sand over the top. You may want to wait for it to dry for quite a while. I spray coated the entire thing in brown and painted the base a dark green. I won't go into too much detail about basing because I actually have another really good video for that in the top now. The quick version of basing is that the sand is used as a texture and I dry brush gradually lighter greens over it to make it look like grass. It's easy, simple and effective. I also have painting tutorials for how display standard miniatures are actually painted. One should also be in the top of your screen now. As for this elemental, I coated it in a brown shade called Agrax Earthshade, which is a shade from Games Workshop. Then I dry brushed it in a lighter brown along the edges. I decided to give it some eyes and a mouth of elemental energy and painted in the gaps of every joint to show this energy binding it together. It could also just look like moss, that's up to you. I painted the stones on his base grey too, just to add another colour to the palette. That same grey was used to highlight the edges of the body parts, and this should make him pop out a little more. As a final touch, I use a lighter grey to highlight the tips of the most prominent corners of him, like the head, hand, and the point on his back. You don't even need to go as far as I have with the painting. It's a homemade model after all, and as long as it's obvious what it is, it's perfect for any Dungeons & Dragons game. As I said at the start, if you enjoyed watching this different kind of video, then please let me know. I have many more ideas for crafting your own things, and I really want to film them. I hope you found this helpful. I've been Daft Painter, and I'll see you next time.
Subscribe to Daft Painter for his weekly content and never miss out on another tutorial.